Hey guys, how's it going? So I've talked about some tips and tricks for two-handers before, but I've never actually made a whole video dedicated to them, so that's what I want to do since these are really the best weapons in the game once you get the hang of them, and there are some really cool things you can do to get the most out of them. So first I want to show you a couple tricks for attacking. First is the backswing. So with a two-hander, you swing the weapon and then you need to bring it back to its starting position, right? The thing is, the weapon is still active during the backswing and it'll deal damage if it hits something. So you see in these clips, I kind of miss my attacks, but I try to keep my weapon near the guy so it still ends up hitting him. This is also handy in a crowded fight like a 1v many because even if you just kind of swing into the crowd, you're almost bound to hit something even if you miss the first guy. Don't be reckless and waste all your stamina though. Another thing you can do with the backswing is miss on purpose, which kind of sounds ridiculous, but take a look at this. Here I'm missing on purpose, but then once my weapon is past his shield, I kind of drag it into his legs and get a hit. This is a really easy, kind of cheesy way to get past shields, and it can be really useful if you're struggling to get hits otherwise. Alright, now I want to show you another attack, and this is something I do all the time with some of my favorite weapons. It's honestly one of the best attacks in the game. So with some of the longer two-handers that can stab from the left, like the Bardiche and the Ferodaka, really any spear actually, you can kind of stab around the shield with it. It's great because it's super consistent. With some practice you can pretty much hit it every time, and the weapon also tends to line up perfectly with the enemy's head, so you're going to do big damage. This, along with the overhead attack, are pretty much my go-to with these weapons. Now two-handers are great for attacking, but they aren't that great for defending. When you're blocking with a two-hander, you're pretty much blocking with a stick, right? Just holding it up in front of you, which doesn't really do much good. The weapon's really close to your body and it doesn't have a big surface to block with, so instead I like to try and angle myself so that I'm not blocking with the pole as much as with the blade. In fact, something you can do is not even block, but instead set up a stab and try to block with it that way. It's a little further away from your body and the blade generally has a bigger surface, so that makes it easier to get in the way of the opponent's weapon. Weapons like the Bardiche or the axes are a little better for this than things like swords or the Ferodaka. And really the best way to defend yourself isn't to block but to dodge. It's so easy to miss a block and still take damage, whereas dodging you can completely avoid attacks. There are two ways I like to dodge. First is dodging and blocking. Pretty much any time I block, even with a shield, I like to dodge backwards as well. That way you distance yourself from the enemy's weapon and you leave your weapon out in front just as a last resort so that if they do hit something, hopefully it's the weapon and not your body. The other way I like to dodge is by turning my back to the enemy, which again might sound a little ridiculous, but I promise it works really well. So the reason you want to do this is because when you dodge, you gain a bit of ground, but as you dodge back, your character is still kind of leaning forward and your hands and even your head are a little more forward than the rest of your body. So by turning away from the enemy as you dodge and getting everything out of the way, it's like you're gaining a little bit of extra ground. And the last thing I want to talk about is your very last line of defense after blocking, after dodging. If none of that worked and you still got hit, then you're going to want to have some armor. You're almost always going to take some damage two-handing because it's just really hard to avoid every attack perfectly without a shield, so let your armor be your shield. If you get a full set of 70% armor or more, you can take a lot of hits and should pretty much be able to kill anyone before they kill you. You can kind of get away with it early on, but I'd say never go two-handing in the mid to late game without a good set of armor if you know what's good for you. And that's that, so hopefully these tips can help you have some fun with the two-handers because they really are so much fun. I'll go chopping heads with an axe any day over hiding behind a shield and poking with a spear. And yeah, that's that. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later.